On January 3, 2026, U.S. forces carried out a dramatic military operation in Caracas, Venezuela, resulting in the capture of President Nicolás Maduro and his transfer to the United States to face federal criminal charges. That action, hailed by Washington as law enforcement and condemned by critics as a breach of sovereignty, has ignited one of the most intense debates in global politics in decades. What makes this moment seismic isn't just that a sitting head of state is now in a New York courtroom, is that the operation appears to have been conducted without a United Nations mandate or clear legal basis under established international law, triggering widespread alarm among diplomats and legal scholars who warn it could undermine the very norms that govern how nations interact. Supporters argue Maduro's indictment for alleged narcotics and terrorism links justified extraordinary measures. Detractors see a dangerous precedent, a powerful nation asserting the right to use force inside another state's territory and prosecute its leader on domestic charges. In this episode, we're unpacking how this happened and what the capture of Maduro could mean for global norms about sovereignty, the use of force, and the rules that bind states today. Because this isn't just a single headline, it's a potential inflection point in the post-World War II legal order.
Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
Well, I'm better now since I had my cup of coffee.
There you go.
But yeah, it's just cold outside, and
yeah.
I just have not been able to get warm. So, thank you for the coffee.
Oh, no problem. You came bearing gifts this week.
I did.
I thought you were just gonna let me have like a little sampling of it.
Oh,
I made a little container of it so that way I could keep around here.
No,
I mixed the two in there.
Keep it. That way you'll have it for when I come over. It's
Okay.
It's there.
Well, don't twist my arm about it, I guess.
One thing before we get into our show today.
Okay.
I think it was episode before last, we talked about the Nielsen ratings. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Of the TV and stuff like that?
Yeah.
After we talked about that, guess what Miranda and I got in the mail?
No way.
Yes, the Nielsen rating envelope.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're listening.
They are listening.
They're sending you a little practical joke. They're like, yeah, here you
they're
go.
listening. Yeah.
Oh man,
I
that's
was like, I
crazy.
saw that and went, oh my God, I can't wait to tell the guys.
Well, if I get the Nielsen ratings, then something's up.
Yeah,
You know.
that's interesting.
Yeah. A lot. Look, I'm telling you,
Yeah, I think it's funny.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
we are in strange times.
We are very.
The geopolitical world is changing in front of our very eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I often wonder if this is kind of the ties into the fourth turning type stuff that we have been kind of mentioning, and we talked about several episodes back.
Now, I remember vaguely. Hasn't one of the previous presidents done something similar to this, or is this kind of a new precedent?
Well,
to be
President Obama
Yeah.
and President Biden both said Maduro needs to be taken out. But now that Trump's done it,
Yeah.
all of a sudden the libtards are free the dictator, even though both of those Democratic presidents wanted him removed. So,
right.
really?
Yeah, I mean, this is a we're in a new place right now, and I've been, while I'm favorable of ridding Venezuela of a terrible political leader, and I don't believe his claims on the presidency are very good, but
Well, he has no claims on the presidency. He was not the president
Right.
of Venezuela.
Yeah.
He never was. He was not elected. He was a dictator. He was Hugo Chavez named him as his successor, and that was it.
yeah, I believe he was some sort of like driver.
He was a truck driver.
Yes.
Wow.
He was a truck driver.
So yeah, he's done well for himself, well up until now. But you know what? To me, What's very eye-opening about this whole thing is just how the United States was able to go in there with a special forces group, and I know they utilize other parts of the armed force.
They used every part of the military.
But the guys that actually landed down inside of a military base and was able to scoop him and his wife and out the country without a single casualty
on our side
at all.
On our side.
Right. And
okay.
I think
now, Cuba is bitching right now because the Cuban government because he couldn't trust his own people, the Cuban government offered his protection.
Yeah.
And those were the guys who got kind of taken out.
And I learned this recently upon like looking into this some more, is that we came in and we took out their anti-aircraft weaponry with aircraft, with our aircraft, and apparently what they were saying was that China is a large distributor of anti-aircraft weaponry for other parts of the world,
and we just showed them how piss poor their stuff is.
We just came in there and blew it all. So there's a lot of people that I think also this is also a big show of strength. I think from the American military still, that even though you may think you have a lot of whatever, probably supplied by China, just know that we still could probably come in and wipe the floor.
Yeah, so. If you remember back during the Clinton era, Clinton gave a lot of secrets to the Chinese, and sometimes I'm wondering if that was by design to kind of give the Chinese an idea of this is where we're at, but we were really so far beyond that at that point in time that could have been a psyop, so to speak.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll give you outdated stuff.
Well, I don't think so, because Hillary Clinton was giving the Russians uranium. So I think he was just making their money. But one thing about it, that whole operation used every military contingent that America had. Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. There was even Space Force personnel involved in this thing. And that was a message.
Oh, yeah.
That was a message to other parts of the world, and that was a message to people in America. If you think about it, the message is the military is behind me.
Yep.
Because only one leak that was intentional leaked out about the whole operation. Do you know what that was?
No, what's that?
They told Hakeem Jeffries right after our people were on the ground putting him and his wife in the helicopter, and they let Jeffries know what was going on.
And to see what he would do.
And he called them to let them know America was on the way.
Now they know. Now they know
where the leak was.
No way.
And everybody is just bitching at Donald Trump, saying, how could you treat a world leader this badly? You know what his response was? What are you talking about? I let him have his +1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he said I allowed him to have his +1. You know what I'm talking about, Ian?
No, what's that?
His wife. He let him take his wife, because can you imagine what the people of Venezuela would have done to her?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He said, I let him take his +1. So they took him and his wife out.
Yeah.
And he is spilling the beans.
I'd be very curious what is going to come out of that, because
we already have a list of the politicians that were on their take.
Right. I'd be very curious of anything that comes out regarding the 2020 election. That to me will be interesting, because there was a lot with
where the Dominion
and all that.
Yeah, the Dominion voting machines came from there.
From there, yeah. I believe
plus some other stuff too with the Biden crime family, in conjunction with Maduro pulling up all the prisons. They were emptying the prisons, they were emptying the insane asylums and sending them to America, and that's coming out.
Yep.
Where everybody's saying, "Oh, that's not true. That's not true." Well, Maduro is spilling his beans, just spilling the guts right now, and saying all that's true. Plus, some guy over there, head of security council or whatever, has given the list of the politicians that are on the payroll from that Maduro administration.
Every one of them should be completely canned.
Taken out.
Canned.
Well,
Put in jail.
Fired, yeah.
Put
be
these
canned.
people in jail.
Yeah, yeah.
It's time.
Yeah,
You know.
it really was. Also, what was interesting is some of the weaponry that was used kind of harkens back to our conversations with Brandon.
Really?
Oh, yes. I've been meaning to actually reach out to him because I thought it would be very interesting to talk about some of these sonic weapons. These guys were just bleeding from the nose and mouth and couldn't do it. They felt like their head was going to explode. It in essence incapacitated. I think Stoney, what you're talking about, that the Cuba was they were complaining about loss of life. I think I saw a figure of 33 guys,
32 or 33.
Yeah,
yes.
I think I saw something to that effect that they had that were taken out. But hey, what is Cuban people doing over there in Venezuela? I found that funny. But
Maduro knew he couldn't trust his own people. He was a dictator, and his people did not like him. He's been killing them, jailing them, all kind of horrible stuff to him. Who could you trust to protect you?
Yeah.
And so that's where it came from. But what Trump's done now, or the American administration with President Trump, has screwed China. Because how about all the oil there? They have the largest oil reserves in the world.
In Venezuela?
Yes.
Interesting.
At one time, Venezuela was the #1 Latin American country, period.
Yeah, it was the richest.
It was the richest. It had everything. And then Hugo Chavez comes into power, thanks to, the CIA and some other people, and completely destroyed it. Within 22 years, it's now the lowest.
Unfortunately, I blame the, I blame the, this is where the detractors will come in about America's, track record on some of these type of regime changes where we ended up, people claim the same thing with happened in Iran with the revolution that happened with the Ayatollah coming in. But yeah, I think my understanding what led to Chavez coming in was the previous leader was wanting to, wanted more of a cut of the oil. And I think...
well, America built all of that.
Exactly.
Everything that other countries are benefiting, the communist and socialist countries are benefiting from now, like China.
Because they just take over.
Because America built it all.
They just take over all the industry that has been built by a capitalist type nation. Yep. And so they just take it over, and unfortunately, it just stagnates and it falls apart because there's within that political ideology, there is nothing to motivate people to take chances and to go out and try to make money. I mean, it's so that's kind of goes back to that fundamental difference between capitalism and communism is, how do you, the biggest drawback on communism, while in theory on paper it sounds good, it completely robs the individual of any motivation to try to go out and take chances and kind of move the needle, so to speak.
Or revolt.
Yeah,
think about it like this. Madami said it. We're going to remove the volatile individualism, and we're all going to enjoy the warmth of collectivism.
Yeah,
okay? It's bullshit. Is what it is. And they're singing this little song, and look what happens to it. It sounds good to start with, but then eventually the problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of other people's money.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And New York is already doing that.
Oh, yeah.
They're running out of money, and
I'm hearing companies are picking up and getting the hell out.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I've given some of the list on the show already, but it's even bigger than that. And it's crazy.
The people who generally cheer for these type of people, or I hate to say it, are generally the people heavily dependent upon government subsidies to live their lives, and a lot of times a lot of women who generally more so depend upon these type of policies for their well-being and stuff like that. I mean, just look at who are the people cheering for Mondami when he got elected. There was a lot of, I hate to say it, a lot of white women voted for him, and it's like, and that kind of goes into the we've mentioned before with what's happening in the political divide between men and women. Unfortunately, as I said, it robs people of the ability to go out there and, what's it worth for me to go out there and take a chance and try to go build wealth?
Right.
Because ultimately, to build wealth, you have to take chances.
And you have to work.
And you got to work. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So there's got to be that carrot constantly in front of you to motivate you.
You see, right there, that's the thing that kind of irritates me about the libtard Democrats talking about this country was founded on immigration. Absolutely. But those immigrants who started in this country were workers. They worked from the sun up till sundown. They built something. They built a civilization. You can't have immigrants coming in with their hand out. It's apples and oranges. It's not even close to being the same thing. Don't compare these immigrants that are wanting free handouts and $8 billion and $22 billion in California, $8 billion in Minnesota and Tampon Tim and all this kind of stuff. This is not the same thing. Quit trying to compare it. That's what irritates me the most about the immigration debate. Yes, America was founded on immigrants. Yes, 100%. It's not the same type of immigration. And now, this is crazy. And I'm sorry to tell you this, that the UN and a lot of countries have come after America for invading Venezuela. And I'm sorry, America did not invade Venezuela on that date. They were undocumented visitors.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Okay. They did not stay
I like the way you did. I like the way you said that.
Yeah, they did not stay long enough to receive all the subsidies that they could have, like in America. They got in, they said, oh, you know what, this isn't for us, and left.
Right.
But there's a whole little group that says this might have been an inside job to get him out of there.
It could. You never
because
know.
they knew exactly where he was. They knew how many people were going to be there. They knew everything. Most of the times to have this kind of an operation with no casualties on our part, that's hard. Now, we have the best Army and Navy. And when I say Army, let me rephrase, the best military in the world. Yeah. The men and women of our military are absolutely amazing. To go in and knock this out, how many times have they done that? This started with Jimmy Carter. When Jimmy Carter tried to get our hostages back, and the Iran hostages, I don't know if you remember that, Ian. I know Jason, he's probably old enough to at least know the stories of it. But we lost everything. Every piece of equipment, everything.
It was basically another Bay of Pigs.
Well, our machinery couldn't handle the desert sand.
Right.
And we went to try to, and we lost everything. Luckily, we got our people out, but we lost everything. And that changed how our military operated. Now, Vietnam taught us a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But that instance right there changed our military, changed how we thought about things, changed how we trained people. And we have the best people in the world. And this event right here showed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
what America's truly capable of.
It's not just.
I wouldn't be surprised if the meetings and the logistics side of it and the back rooms, secret conversations. I wouldn't be surprised if all that took substantially longer than the mission.
Of course it did.
Oh, planning something like that. I can say that from protective services side. Planning that is insane.
So I can only imagine. It may feel like an inside job, but I think it's also
there was nobody said anything.
Nope.
No one. That was a message. The military's on my side, and the one person that they kind of let know.
That was the test.
That was the test. That was another message. If I let you know, I'm going to let the world know you busted the trust. So Hakeem Jeffries, why is he not in jail for treason right now? Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, President Trump, I challenge you today.
Yeah.
Start putting these people in jail. It's time. It's why you were elected.
Yep.
It's time to start putting these people in jail. Democrat, Republican, I don't care. If they are doing treasonous things,
Yes.
put them in jail. If you want my number, I'm sure the FBI has it. Please give me a call. I'll answer any questions you have on why I said this publicly. Start putting these people in jail. It's time. The only way to make change in this world is to make that change, and these people don't think you're going to put them in jail. Start putting them in jail. It's time.
I agree. Totally with you.
And I'm sorry, guys, to go off on that tangent, but this irritates me. You have a traitor. We're talking about Venezuela and the event that happened, removing Maduro, and we had a traitor.
Yeah.
What is he, a congressman?
Yeah.
A U.S. congressman was given an opportunity to do the right thing and chose to be a traitor.
Yep.
Why not that moment? The minute he made that phone call, the FBI should have rolled up, the Secret Service should have rolled up and put his butt in jail. He should be in jail right now.
The problem is sometimes it's just politically,
Don't care about the political part. If you commit treason in this country, go to jail.
I think
Do not pass go.
I think that would just been something else to rile up the Democratic
Let them
base.
rile up.
Because right now they're already saying that the Democrats are going to take the House. So when that if that happens, then they're going to start trying to impeach Trump. They're pretty much going to kill anything he's trying to do. I'm telling you, that election is going to be critical to see.
When does that happen?
It's this year.
Okay.
I think it's in November.
Yeah.
It's in November. So traditionally, the party that's in power in the presidency loses the midterms. It's just the way it is because the other side is all riled up. And Lord, look what you're seeing, what's going on in Minnesota and some of these other states that are protesting. And so I think the idea of arresting Hakeem Jeffries, which in any other time period in this country's history, he would have been toast.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
For you to pick up and to warn a foreign a guy that basically it was a criminal.
Yeah.
That you gave him a warning that the Americans were coming for you. To me, that tells me everything I need to know about you, dude.
Yep.
It really does.
Yep.
And it's a shame that we have gotten to a point in this country that they've got people who is okay with that.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know. As I said, something has changed in this country about our grandparents would have never ever thought this would be. I don't know where some of these people are coming from. They're just completely completely deranged.
Yeah,
I'm reading an article here. Some of the reactions that. And of course, it's all predictable. The United Nations voiced deep concern Tuesday over the dramatic U.S. operation in Venezuela and warned that it clearly undermined a fundamental principle of international law. States must not threaten or use force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. Ravina Shamadazaya, if I'm pronouncing that right, spokesperson for the UN Rights Office, told reporters in Geneva. The international community needs to come together with one voice to insist on that, she added.
Then why wasn't the UN involved in stopping all of these boats from coming to America with their drugs?
Because they don't care.
Okay, then shut the hell up when we decide to do something about it.
I think Trump is why he invokes the reactions that he does and why there were so many people that were a part of the international world order did not want him there because they knew he was capable of doing this
Yes.
Yeah.
and not
And was going to do it.
and do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't care about the rest of the world. You've kind of seen this pushback on NATO and basically Trump calling all these weak European countries out for basically turning your military into glorified policemen. And you really can't do anything. You know, their budgets for their defense of those countries have been reduced because they've been relying on the United States to do everything. And finally, you've got a president in this country that's willing to say, this has got to stop.
Yeah.
NATO's supposed to be an alliance, and everybody's got to pitch in to do this. This is not just
Nobody's been pitching in. America's been the only one pitching in.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure of the exact things, but he's basically stopped that check.
Yeah.
Basically, the UN has to come to America on a case-by-case thing for money. So he's no longer writing this check to the UN every year that was billions and billions and billions of dollars for them to spend as they want. Every time the UN wants money from America, they have to present it case by case. And I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, well, he's definitely turned the spigot off. I can tell you. It's look, I've always said that if America was truly serious about one, controlling the drug trade, border security, if it truly had the mindset that our country had at one time, look out. Because we could shut down a lot of shenanigans quick.
Right.
But I hate to say it, just like we saw with Hakeem Jeffries,
Yeah.
there's a lot of dark money that is flowing into these campaigns of these congressmen and congresswomen out there that are getting elected that are doing the bidding of these foreign countries at the expense of America.
Well, they found out why Tampon Tim became, what's her name's running mate? Shit, here comes some brain damage again. Kamala Harris's running mate. He was a nobody. Why did he come out of nowhere to get picked to be the vice president? Because the very next day, $35 million was put into their coffers for the election, all coming from Somalians. So he by him coming in, boom, they funded started funding the campaign against Donald Trump. That's why he was picked.
Right.
So that means this guy, a nobody, was one heartbeat away from being president. You don't think there wouldn't have been a cover-up then of the Minnesota stuff?
Oh, yeah.
It would have been crazy.
Well, it says Trump claimed that the Venezuelan vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, had been sworn in as president shortly before he spoke to reporters and added she had spoken with Marco Rubio. She's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple, Trump said. So, okay, so the question is what is going on here? Why all of a sudden this Venezuelan has just kind of taken the center?
Right.
You know, why all of a sudden we need to react? There's a couple things people need to be aware of, that there is a larger geopolitical kind of a issue with Venezuela. We all know right now that China its desires is to rule the world, and they're not going to necessarily do it with military force. They're doing it with basically making deals with all these countries. They're floating loans. They're doing all these things, and what happens? They know these countries can't pay these loans back. So what they do is they start seizing the capital assets in that country and seizing the means of production. So in essence, they take the country over economically.
Right.
That's what they do. So this is kind of what was happening in Venezuela. Matter of fact, Ian, you mentioned some of the technology that supposedly the Venezuelans had. Well, a lot of this technology was anti-stealth tech that was given to them by the Chinese and by the Russians and by the Iranians. Okay. And that all failed. So that tells me what they thought, where they thought America's technology was far. They underestimated the U.S. Tech level of where we were at militarily.
Right.
So, what Trump has done is, in essence, remove the collateral off the table, making all these loans that the Chinese have floated useless. They are worthless.
Well, they started in the early 2000s loaning money. It's basically oil for infrastructure, if you want to look at it. So basically, they're giving them all these loans, and the guarantee for those loans, kind of like collateral or payments, was the oil. Well, guess what?
Now the oil's gone.
Oil's gone. So what does all those loans are sort of like when America and the American companies went in and built the oil infrastructure. When the dictator Chavez came in, it removed all America's investments in there, they just lost it. Well, now all of China's investments, same thing. They've lost it because now the guarantee of that oil is not there. So, they're not just a banker anymore.
Right.
It's gone. So it's a great ploy. It just happened in America's favor. Normally it happens against America.
Right.
This time it just worked in our favor. A lot of those loans were directly tied to the oil output.
Yep.
Hey, we're going to put out this much oil. You're going to get some of this. We're going to cut it deal with you. We're going to, and now it's nothing. Zero.
Yeah. I found it interesting that they've been chasing down. You probably saw in the news that they were chasing down some of these flag tankers that supposedly were trying to circumvent the embargo.
Russia.
Trying to sell. Yeah.
Russia. They're circled. They're around one of them.
And they got it. So to me, it's the idea that, Russia was trying to somehow protect it. The U.S. Coast Guard just seized it right there in front of them. It just shows you that the Russians couldn't do anything about it.
Well, think about this now. China's going to have to come in and renegotiate all of this, but now they're going to have to do it with somebody
that's more friendly.
America's kind of put in there. And so how much U.S. pressure is going to be able to come in now with these new negotiations to hopefully get some of their money back?
Yep. Well, I personally think it's trying to kick the Chinese out of the Western Hemisphere. The same thing is going on down there in the Panama Canal. Panama Canal was basically given away.
I think who built the Panama Canal? I'm sorry, who?
It was America.
Exactly. That was my point. Who built the oil infrastructure in Venezuela?
It was under Teddy Roosevelt.
Well, right now, BlackRock owns the Panama Canal.
Right. Well, they've tried to go in there and...
They own the Panama Canal. So
it's all about this. I'm saying there's a larger geopolitical issues that are going on of why these countries, and as I said, it's not part of our topic tonight, but the same thing right now is going on with Greenland.
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing going on right now. It's you're projecting what the world's going to look like 25, 35 years from now and how the power dynamics are working, because right now China controls about 90% of the rare earth minerals, which are absolutely essential for everything that we build. I mean, our military would grind to a halt if we did not have these. Well, guess what they find in Greenland?
Yep.
Massive deposits of rare earth minerals. And that's the only way they break the Chinese monopoly. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, I love the way you said that, because this event in Venezuela, it shows that China's backyard is not off limits to U.S. operations and pressure now, because you could really consider now at this point Venezuela China's backyard.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And this showed directly that their backyard's not off limits.
And you don't think that some of these big tech gurus like Bezos, Elon Musk, and all these that make semiconductor, all the tech and all that stuff, don't think they're saying, look, we have to break our dependence on China for this stuff. The only way to do this is for the United States to secure areas that are rich in these areas and bypass the Chinese monopoly.
Right.
You have to do that. Otherwise, you're utterly dependent upon them. And if all of a sudden they decide, you know what, we're not going to give you any, what does that happen? I mean, where does that force you now? So...
But you see, other countries are getting ready for this. I don't know if I talked about it in the last episode, but Japan is no longer defensive.
Oh,
I think they've changed their philosophy.
No, they have. This year, they are the third largest military spending country in the world.
Building back
they
there.
are going to be offensive ready. Before, it was defensive reactionary only since World War II. And now because they are ready for China. They think what China, they said basically, if China goes after Taiwan, we will act.
Yep.
Well, Japan was impressive.
Well,
okay,
because they
I'm
have
sorry.
to.
Oh, yeah.
Japan was impressive.
They have to because
they had
have
some
to protect
bad
Taiwan.
leadership, but they were impressive.
Yeah.
And if they are going to be offensive again, getting ready for what China can do, that's
look,
tough,
look on the downside, and I've listened to several podcasts. A lot of people who are criticizing this decision to do this, and what precedent this sets now is this basically say, well, if Russia wants to take Ukraine, just go and take it. If China wants Taiwan, what? I mean, hey, if America can go do it, why can't we do it? Now, of course, I think it's totally two different things.
It is completely two different
but
things.
I think on a simplistic surface level, I could understand that where that kind of thinking would come from.
Justification.
I think if you start thinking, thinking a little deeper than that, you'll say, there's a little bit of difference between that because.
But they don't care about that. They want to justify what they want to do, and they'll pull any string they can to do that.
Yeah,
they'll do whatever they have to.
I saw that Maduro he was indicted on 4 counts: narco terrorism, conspiracy, cocaine importation, conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Why would they? I didn't realize it was illegal to own machine guns
I don't know.
in other parts of the world, because other parts of the world,
I don't think it is.
they got kids that are running around with AK-47s. Maybe there is. I don't know. I'm just reading an article right here. They say authorities allege powerful and violent drug trafficking organizations such as the Sinaloa cartel and the Tren de Aragua gang worked directly with the Venezuelan government and then sent profits to high-ranking officials who helped and protected them in exchange. So Maduro and his wife were initially taken to a U.S. warship and then flown by plane to New York on that Saturday afternoon. So
interesting.
Yeah, now he did plead not guilty, and he said he was a political prisoner. Not as a defendant. So it'll be very interesting how this plays out in the New York courtroom. So
do we know how long it's gonna be, or is it just gonna?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think they'll wait till he finishes spilling the beans.
Probably.
He said Maduro was highly guarded in a presidential palace akin to a fortress, and he tried to get to a safe room, but wasn't able to get there in time.
Well, I have a question about that. Do you think they'll keep an eye on Hillary Clinton now?
Yeah, because what secrets might get exposed there?
Well, I mean, how many people has the Clinton Foundation had removed? And this would be a classic case of the Clinton Foundation coming in and removing another person, like the Epstein stuff, which, of course, the Clintons are now fixing to be held in contempt of court for not showing up for the Epstein thing.
They're who cares what they do, because that's what people say, but
Yeah.
anybody else, if it was a Republican, then it would
they'd be all over it.
Be all over it. But I mean, we all know that They said, I'm just kind of reading here how he was describing how the operation went. He said Trump said U.S. forces.
I love how he describes stuff.
Man,
Yeah. Trump said U.S. forces practiced the operation ahead of time on a replica building, and the U.S. turned off almost all the lights in Caracas.
That's cool.
Although
and
he
scary.
didn't detail how they accomplished that. Kane said the mission had been meticulously planned for months.
Wow.
Relying on work by U.S. intelligence community to find Maduro and detail how he moved, lived, ate, and what he wore.
Whoa, that's crazy.
The mission involved more than 150 aircraft launched across the Western Hemisphere, Kane said. Helicopters came under fire as they approached the target area and responded with overwhelming force.
Overwhelming force is great.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah, they said the U.S. does not recognize the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, and the legal implications of the strike under U.S. law were not immediately clear. The Trump administration maintains that Maduro is not the legitimate leader of Venezuela and claims he's effectively turned Venezuela into a criminal enterprise at the service of drug traffickers and terrorist groups. And we all know that we found out that Hezbollah, he had opened his country up for Hezbollah to come in there and train. And so that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff going on in that country, and you just can't have these kind of rogue actors like that opening up their country to these people that are openly hostile to the United States. I mean, you just can't do it.
Wild.
So, of course, everybody's moaning, complaining that, Trump is, this kind of feeds into this. Trump is a dictator and he's ignoring the Constitution. And
no, he's following the Constitution. I mean, the UN is saying we need to, what's the word I'm looking for? Crap. We may have to pause this one here and fix it. Again.
Okay.
We need to make America isolated. We need to isolate America. And I'm like, please?
Okay.
Can we do that? Can we isolate America? Pretty please? I like that idea. But that's what they're calling for right now.
Right.
And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, they said Trump had said, because I remember watching the news, I was like, who's going to be running Venezuela? It says, Trump says we're going to run the country until such a time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
Interesting.
And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela.
And I love how there's so many people, so many Venezuelans that are like celebrating the fact that they did this, and there's so many people that have never actually stepped foot in Venezuela that are complaining about,
Well, they don't care about Venezuela.
Right. I know.
They hate Trump.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. That's
Remember,
all they care about.
Obama and Biden said something needs to be done about Maduro. But now all of a sudden, since Trump did it.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't.
Free the dictator. Free the dictator.
They didn't want to use any political capital in doing what they needed to do.
Yeah.
They said the Justice Department released a new indictment, but they said the legal authority for the attack, which echoed the 1990 U.S. invasion of Panama that led to the surrender and seizure of leader Manuel Antonio Noriega.
Yep.
So yeah, I remember when that happened. I remember Noriega waving that machete above his head. He was talking to his people and found out how little he was. In the scheme
well, wait
of
a minute. Like you just said that. I want you to know, if you remember, Maduro invited Trump to come get him.
Yeah,
he said, "I'm waiting for you."
Yeah, come get me. Yeah.
I mean, technically, we had an invite.
Yeah.
Right.
Technically, if the world want, that would be, if I was President Trump, that would be my calling card. I was invited.
I would have loved to seen the reaction on his face.
Oh, what?
When Delta Force dropped in there and go,
hello, knocky knock.
We're here.
Yeah,
President Trump sends his powers.
Grab your wife. We're going.
Yeah.
See ya. Just call it a day.
That's
I
wild.
just absolutely I found it absolutely I'm just imagining what he's thinking and all of a sudden you hear explosions, and all of a sudden everything
I'm
goes
pretty
dark.
sure he had to change his underwear.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure he had to change his underwear.
That's wild.
Well, I
yeah.
believe I saw that the person that was going to run against Maduro in 2024, I think she won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes.
Oh, really?
She had mentioned that she would donate the prize basically to Trump.
No way.
Because Trump was supposedly
He was
Trump was up to
yeah.
possibly get that award.
Nobody put him up though.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Obama got one a couple weeks into office for doing absolutely nothing. And Donald Trump has stopped wars, freed hostages, done everything you can imagine, and can't even get nominated? What?
Because he's hated too much.
He's hated
apparently.
too much.
Everyone-
That's right.
Yeah, he's just, I mean, there's nothing he's ever going to do because he's
If
just,
he cured cancer,
Oh, they'd find a
would
way to hate him for
they
it.
would hate him.
well, they'll
be-
say,
Yeah.
well, he only did it because somebody else.
Well, no. If he cured cancer tomorrow, the headline would be Donald Trump has created poverty because no more profits in drug monies. You know, they would just. It's ridiculous.
I just this kind of I mean, it's got to a point where it's just ridiculous now.
Yeah, of course,
I think it kind of rolls off of people's head now. I mean, other than the people that are kind of radicalized and riled up about all this other stuff that's going on with ICE and everything.
Well, there's so much fatigue going around. I think people are tired of the Trump hate. We have Trump hate fatigue right now. It's tiresome.
Especially when I feel like there's actual people that are like terrible people that are probably deserve some focus and some actual hate. But
Hakeem Jeffries would be
I'm
one of them
just saying.
just for being a traitor. But how many more other traitors are there? You know, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they say Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, is positioning the country for a new era, signaling potential reforms to the oil sector and working diplomatically with the U.S. after Maduro's capture. Rodriguez's call for legislative support to open up Venezuela's oil industry.
Wow.
It's amazing how that works.
look at
Huh?
that.
Funny, huh?
Yeah, that works. She goes, she's also vowed to release more prisoners as part of an attempt at political reconciliation and has already held a phone call with President Trump.
Has not released those prisoners to America. It's released the political prisoners from Maduro that went to jail for speaking up against him.
right.
So it's a different kind of release prisoners.
Yeah. But still.
Yeah, we are.
work.
We are in a. They said the International Monetary Fund said will only consider restoring ties with Venezuela if a majority of its members recognize a successor government after Maduro's ouster, a key step toward unlocking economic support. The U.S. has seized a sixth oil tanker linked to Venezuelan oil shipments in what officials describe as enforcement of sanctions and efforts to control crude exports, highlighting the continuing economic and geopolitical tug-of-war over Venezuela's energy resources.
Of course.
It is the largest oil reserves in the world. I think I saw something like 350 million barrels or something like that. It's a massive amount. Now, my understanding, I was kind of the kind of oil that they can pull out under. There's only certain refineries that can refine that oil, and believe it or not, most of those refineries are in Texas and Louisiana.
No way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're actually built
Yeah.
to process that kind of oil.
Interesting. I wonder what that's going to mean in the big picture.
Yeah, the opposition leader that I was telling you about earlier, her name is Maria Corina Machado, Macchiato, or Machado.
Yeah.
And she presented her Nobel Peace Prize medal to Donald Trump during the White House visit, a highly symbolic act amid ongoing debates over leadership and legitimacy.
That's awesome.
They have 303 billion barrels, which is roughly 17% of the global proven reserves.
Yeah, I think Yeah, didn't they mention, I think the goal was to be able to sell 50 million barrels? And matter of fact, I think I saw that money has exchanged, and Trump parked that 500 million in a bank in Qatar.
What?
Because if you put it in a U.S. bank, it becomes part of the U.S., and then the Congress then has the authority to spend it. And so
We don't want that.
I think they just I think he basically says, I don't trust any of you.
No.
I think y'all all on the take. And he parked it at a bank in Qatar. So you may want to look at that. I saw an article on that. Yeah, they said, where is it at?
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah,
how much money did you say it was?
500 million, I think I saw.
Hold on. Stop.
Hey, can I have a paper towel or something? My
Yeah,
nose
yeah.
is just blowing up. It's going.
Well,
Yeah, I'm looking at it, talking about, just kind of going back to this geopolitical angle to all this. Said that China, and according to a new report from the U.S.-China Economic and Security Review Commission, Beijing's footprint in Venezuela is deep, financially, strategically, and even militarily. The commission explains that China's relationship with Venezuela accelerated rapidly after Hugo Chavez was elected in 1998, marking the start of a much closer political and economic alignment between Caracas and Beijing. Fast forward to 2023, and the two governments officially upgraded their ties into what China calls an all-weather strategic partnership. That's one of Beijing's higher-level diplomatic designations, and it signals plans for long-term cooperation spanning politics, trade, energy, and more. But
interesting.
But the report also emphasizes something important. This partnership may be strong, but it does not create formal security guarantees the way a treaty alliance would. So what does propping up Venezuela actually mean? Critics often say China has been propping up Venezuela, and based on the commission's analysis, that really comes down to money and oil. The USCC says Chinese policy banks have loaned more to Venezuela than any other country in Latin America. And analysts estimate that at least $10 billion in Chinese loans remain outstanding.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The report says China purchases most of Venezuelan oil, even in the face of U.S. sanctions. And that oil revenue is crucial because it represents over half of Venezuela's fiscal revenue. So when China buys Venezuelan oil, it's not just business, it's survival.
Wow. That's crazy.
So this is a really good report here. Really kind of gives a lot of good information kind of on that relationship.
Seems like it runs deeper than I thought it was.
Yeah, the commission also notes that much of China's Venezuelan oil intake may be undercounted in official import figures, since the report argues the vast majority of China's oil imports from Venezuela are recorded as shipments from other countries. And in the broader discussion of how sanctioned oil keeps moving, Reuters also reported a shadow fleet tactics tied to Venezuela's oil exports, including vessels disguised under false names and shipments routed through intermediaries for China-bound purchases.
Interesting.
So I'm telling you, this is what the critics don't understand, the long-term game here.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to neutralize China's ability to power their economy. That's what this is about. Now,
if you take that, what's happening in Iran right now too? Because you see, Venezuela has the number one reserve of oil.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia number 2, but Iran is number 3.
Interesting.
But right now, there's a little bit of upheaval in Iran right now.
Oh yeah, they got issues going on there. They say also that that same report reports that Venezuela is the largest purchaser of Chinese military equipment in Latin America. The equipment described spans serious hardware, including armored vehicles, rocket systems, missiles, and military aircraft. And the report claims that some of it has been used to suppress protests inside Venezuela.
Interesting.
I want to break this down a little bit. You know, we keep talking about billions of barrels that these countries have. And this is rough, but roughly the world uses 100 to 104 million barrels per day of oil to generate whatever it needs. So that's 36 to 38 billion barrels per year. And that includes crude oil and other liquid fuels for used in transportation industry and petrochemicals.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's pretty significant. And they're saying by 2027, that consumption may be 108 billion barrels per day.
Mm.
So, I mean, that's significant.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, the oil here is finite,
Right.
but it's an insane amount,
Right.
but it's still finite.
Well, you know, that's what I'm saying. What's happening here, and just how deep the Chinese have kind of embedded themselves in this country prior to this event. They said the report identifies that the Chinese also have access to 2 satellite ground stations inside Venezuela.
Okay.
It has the El Sombrero satellite ground station located on Captain Manuel Rios Aerospace Base, and the Lupibia satellite control ground station described as a backup. So according to this report, the facilities handle telemetry, tracking, and command functions for a Venezuelan civilian satellite.
Okay.
So, yeah. Now, they're saying the Chinese say they can access this remotely, but I'd be very curious how they can fix that.
Well, I mean, think about it like this. You know, the world is roughly using 100 billion barrels of oil every single day. Okay, math out. That's
Right.
billions of barrels a year. So even with electric cars and renewables,
Yeah.
that demand is not going to collapse anytime soon. Okay, we can wishful think all we want, but it's kind of the same thing with plastics.
Yeah.
I love all these people who say, stop all plastics. Okay, well, give your phone up. No, I'm not giving my phone up. Well, that phone is plastic.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, stop making plastics. Well, you can't, because our lives would not be where they are if we didn't have plastics. Well, how do you make plastics? Oil.
Yeah. Petrochemicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Petrochemicals. So it's crazy, but I mean, are they thinking 120, million barrels per day by 2050?
Right.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
But that's also why oil means power.
Right.
And just so y'all know that America is, let's see, they are 9th in that list with 69 billion barrels.
Okay. That's interesting.
Kuwait has 102. Russia has 108 billion. Canada has 168 billion, but it's oil sands.
Okay.
And getting the oil out of that is a little harder.
Okay.
Like shale oil. America has a lot of shale oil that doesn't go into our number because it's hard to extract the oil from the shale.
Okay.
So, that's a whole nother process that's kind of expensive, but if we had to, we could.
Right.
So
interesting.
Yeah, I saw the article. Did y'all see that regarding, Exxon has basically said that Venezuela is uninvestable, and basically Trump has basically removed Exxon. I think it's going to be Chevron or whatever company. So, and of course, Exxon is the company that built all that infrastructure down there, and they had it all
weren't
seized.
the only one, but they did a lot. But they weren't the only one.
The name of that last tanker that got seized was the Veronica.
Okay.
Yeah, the Veronica is the 6th sanctioned tanker seized by U.S. forces. as a part of the effort by the Trump administration to control the production, refining, and global distribution of Venezuela's oil products. And the fourth since the U.S. ouster of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. Yeah.
Okay.
This
Curious
is
to see where this pans out to.
Yeah.
I also want to know, like, when is there going to be like a? Are they going to? I know I think he's had a trial. I think is what you've said, but like,
he's going to have a trial.
He's going to have a trial. Okay, I'm curious as to when that's going to happen and
how long
they're going to.
I mean, he's dead his plea, so he's pled not guilty. So, I guess whenever that date will come.
And just for the record, just so we're throwing that out there, we said how many tankers have been?
I think it was 6. I saw there was a 6-1 rated.
A small tanker holds 500,000 to 750,000 barrels. Medium tankers, roughly 1 million. Large crude carriers, 2 million barrels, and ultra large crude carriers hold 3 to 4 million barrels.
That's those super tankers.
Those are those
big super tankers.
Those big super tankers.
Those are huge ships.
But those have been mostly kind of phased out because of port limitations.
Right.
But that's okay. But
they say Trump met with executives from the oil companies last week to discuss his goal of investing $100 billion in Venezuela to repair and upgrade its oil production and distribution. His administration said it expects to sell at least 30 to 50 million barrels of sanctioned Venezuelan oil.
But think about this. If we use 100 million barrels a day, that's 50 very large tankers. A day.
That's crazy.
A day.
A day.
And they're called VLCCs, very large crude carriers.
Yeah.
And so roughly we need 50 VLCCs or 18,000 full super tankers per year, which the super tanker, didn't have near that much, but that's kind of crazy if you think about it.
For
Good
real.
Lord.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Were you able to find that dollar amount I was telling you about? Where I read that article about this money that because they sold, I think, the first 50 million barrels, and I think they parked that money in another account.
Let me see if I can. Let's see.
I'll be very curious what you find on that because it's got everybody all upset.
Yeah, the only thing maybe I'm typing the wrong thing, but I wasn't able to figure out how to word it properly.
Just put money in Qatar.
Okay, let's see.
We see money deposit into Qatar
Venezuela
bank.
money.
Venezuela into Qatar bank or something along those lines.
Let's see. Let's see why Trump's $500 million.
You found it?
Yeah, it says $500 million.
That's what I thought.
It was saying that the Trump administration will keep money generated from the sale of Venezuelan oil across multiple bank accounts, the largest of which is located in Qatar, according to the reports. It says that the oil deal is worth $500 million. They justify the decision to hold some of the proceeds in the Gulf state rather than in U.S. banks by pointing out that it is a neutral location from which the funds could be freely and safely moved without risk of seizure. Interesting.
Well,
I'm curious.
Do this math. The average rough cost of a barrel of crude is $64.
Well, right now, I mean, it's got plenty of oil out there, and gas prices are pretty low right now. I mean, I've been seeing reports of below $2 a gallon.
We've had it below $2 here.
Yeah,
I bought it at $1.98 and $1.99 in the last week and a half.
That's crazy. But that's also
I love that.
Yeah, I love that though. I am really curious to see how this whole thing pans out. Like what not only what his trial is going to be, but what's going to happen, all that kind of stuff in the big picture of things. How are things going to get operated in Venezuela? Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, if I mentioned with the IMF, if that can be reopened, I think that gives them access to $4.9 billion. IMF has to wait until major shareholders recognize a new Venezuelan government. The IMF Venezuela tie suspended since 2019. So yeah, I mean, so hopefully they can kind of get it.
Well, I think the Venezuelan people are ready.
Oh yeah,
they are ready. They're going to do everything that they can to help expedite that.
Yeah,
and they're already talking about holding an election. And putting somebody in and getting the government running so that they can get back to the life that they led.
Oh yeah,
before two dictators came in and destroyed their gorgeous, profitable, country.
Yeah,
and made it nothing. It was the lowest South American country since these guys have done what they did.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was the most impoverished. I think
that's what I'm talking about. It went from the top to the bottom.
Right.
But that's what happens. It's just they can't. They just this idea that somehow you're going to impose this ideology on everybody that basically robs people of what I call the spark.
Yeah.
That's what makes America unique. That spark, which you want to call it the Protestant work ethic, the capital, the idea of I'm tired of being shackled to monarchies where I'm a serf. I can't raise my station in life. I want to be able to make it or break it the sweat of my own brow. That kind of drive, that kind of makes somebody that I come from poverty, but look at me now.
Yeah.
When you remove those incentives for people, then this is what you get. You get broken economies. You get, because they can't get it through their head that nothing's for free. Mm-hmm. Someone's paying for it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's how socialism works. I've used this example before. You take $500 from one person and give $100 to 5 people. Yep. You've lost 1 vote and gained 5 votes. Mm-hmm. But eventually, you're going to run out of $500 guys' money.
Exactly.
And then what you going to do? How you going to keep paying these people? Well, that's when
everything descends into chaos.
Right.
And you get these strong men in there, and they become dictators, and they do terrible things to people who don't like them. Yeah. It's just kind of the natural life cycle of these type of because when people are making money and their overall lives are better, you don't have people trying to run around overthrow the government,
right? Because
they're too busy trying to make money and they're living a good life.
Yeah,
they want the American dream,
right? They don't want. People only do this when their backs up against the wall.
When they get hungry.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. When there's nothing else I can do.
Yeah. When they're hungry in philosophical and
that's what's happening in Iran right now.
Yes.
I think I saw the latest. The economy is so bad over there. I think the average Iranian was making like $120 a month.
Yeah. The government has killed 12,000 people.
Yikes.
I'll be very curious what's going to happen there. I know there's a lot of international pressure, and there's pressure at home not to get the U.S. involved in that, but it wouldn't surprise me if we got the CIA. That's not...
they've already been working.
Yeah,
they're
talking about Mossad.
They're talking about bringing in the old Shah's son into that. He said he's ready. He's been... I don't know where he's been living since that happened, but...
If they can overthrow that, they kick the Islamic government out of that country and get that country back to what it was pre-1979. Mm-hmm. You talk about would be a complete, it'd be a massive counterbalance to Islamic influence in that region. People forget that there's a lot of native-born people living in Iran that just completely reject this Islamic kind of title because, they were Persians. and
That's
and
right.
it's what a lot of people, kind of going way back into biblical times. There was always very good relations between the Jewish people and Persians. I mean, people forget Cyrus the Great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's always been a kind of a friendly kind of relationship there.
Yeah.
So, which would be huge if you can get that country to basically be a counterweight to Turkey.
It's really
and
funny if you look at the historical garb of
Yeah.
these nations before this Islamic radicalism came into it and covered them from head. The garb was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Men and women, the way
Yeah.
they dressed, the way they did things was just,
it was very flamboyant.
it was just colorful. It was nice. It was, and now it's just nothing. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, right now though, until they get that stuff straight,
Well, it's happening. The people are.
I think the people have had enough. That's what I'm saying. We are seeing what is right now is being. You're seeing the history being made
Yeah.
right now. I feel.
But you're also seeing it being made in America.
right.
Because what's driving around New York now?
Oh, yeah.
The Muslim community police officers.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay. You have this is beyond belief to me that this is allowed. Okay.
Hell, that's happening. It's happening all over this. I mean, Stoney,
It needs to
it
stop.
is happening. I mean, Texas has been infiltrated with these people. It is. Luckily, I saw some good news in Oklahoma. They denied a permit
Yes,
to build
for a mosque.
there.
Yes.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good for them, because this is crazy. This is what they do.
Yeah.
This is what they do. And
Well, there's been a petition that got 700,000 signatures in New York. So Mondami's going to have some kind of an election in April that could recall election because they got enough signatures to do a recall election on him.
Well,
Really?
if you
Yes.
look at when he got elected, if you look at the voter turnout for that election, it was a lot of people that didn't even bother to go vote.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, they're waking up and going, "What in the world did we just allow into this city?" Because
Well, when his housing director comes out and says that owning a home is white privilege and white people need to be prepared to give up their homes now.
Nope.
Wait, what?
Nope.
And this woman, her mom and dad live in a $1.6 million home.
yeah, oh yeah,
Wait, what?
that's right.
Excuse me.
What? Excuse me? Squeeze me?
Yeah, it's what I'm saying. That's what they do. They go into societies that have built this stuff and just take
Yeah.
and just take it over, and then they end up destroying it. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a wake up call.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think people really understand what they voted for with this dude, and these.
Oh, they do
these
now
white- these
because
white
his first
women-
executive order, he said, buses and mass transit are going to be free. His
you
first
mentioned that.
executive
Yeah.
order raised it to $3.
Crazy.
He's a liar.
Yeah, I just think you gotta be careful with that. And I'm telling you, I know we're an open and free society, but you cannot allow that element to take root. I mean, look what's happened in Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah.
What's happened in Minnesota. It's
And
this.
we're learning it's happening in Ohio.
Yes,
Look at the
exactly.
$22 billion lost in California.
Yeah, it is. This is what to me is these politicians that are on the take that are basically selling the legacy of this country for dollars in their campaign. Shame on you.
Yep.
Shame on you that you don't have any more proud idea of your ancestors would be turning in their graves right now of what you're allowing to happen in this country in the name of freedom.
Right.
I mean, I this idea that, well, there's nothing we can do to, yes, you can. You just simply say no.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
going to do what's right for the American people one time.
The heritage of this country is Christianity.
Yeah.
I know that's going to be uncomfortable for some people.
Yep.
But if you want to be Muslim, then you're not going to be able to. You got to practice in your house
Yeah.
or do whatever. But this is a Christian country, It's a Judeo-Christian backdrop. That is the value set that this country was formed on.
Well, the first thing they need to do is make Sharia law illegal in America
Yes.
in any form. It does not coincide with our Constitution at all. Therefore, it is already illegal.
I am waiting. I would love to see some federal legislation filed on that.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There's no place for that in the United States. And I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So, everybody out there, interesting times. You got Venezuela, you got Iran, you've got Greenland.
And you got everything happening in England right now, too.
And England is right now, and what I'm seeing
England's
over there
in trouble.
is in trouble. They are absolutely in trouble. And I'm telling you, I just feel like
Charles needs to turn that over to William, and there's one clause in the Constitution that says that they can get what is their government, the Parliament. He says he can dissolve Parliament and start over.
Oh,
and he needs to do that. Charles just needs to give it up,
Yeah.
give it to William with all the strength and the youth and the exuberance that he can bring into it, dissolve Parliament and start over. Because London, 10 or 12 of the major cities in England are Muslim mayors.
Yeah.
there's something wrong with this. I mean, they're just, if you cannot see, they have literally learned in one generation.
Yep.
They have turned their country over.
Yeah.
They have robbed their future kids of the country that they should have received from their ancestors.
Yeah.
What they have done is irresponsible and criminal. And I'm telling you, there's a sinister force behind that.
Yeah.
It's called demonic.
And that's a different topic. Maybe it's something we could talk about, the rise of Islam in the United States and around the world. Maybe that is something we need to talk about. But it's people get a little uncomfortable when you start talking about that.
Of course.
We have been fighting that religion since the 5th century.
Yep.
I mean, the 5th and 6th century.
Crazy.
Since it came out of Arabia, we have been fighting that.
Yeah.
The Christian world has been fighting that. So, I don't know, guys. It's they what it said. The computer predicted in '73 that the seeds of the unraveling would be seen in the 2020s. Interesting times.
Well, I'm curious to see what everyone else has to say about this situation. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who got a lot of opinions, and some are probably going to be offensive, and that's okay. If you have...
I'm sure I offended somebody today. Sorry to interrupt you there,
No,
but
okay.
I had to throw that in there. I'd be willing to bet.
If anybody wants to share your more long-form responses, we have an email address, aptly named getoffendedtogether@gmail.com. Or you can send some more short-form responses on YouTube and on Spotify in the little comment sections. Be sure to like and subscribe on all the platforms that you listen to us on. We appreciate it. Or share it to someone that you think would like it or not like it. And until next time, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone, and God bless.
I don't have a really fancy closing for today, but I would like to leave you something to think about going into the future. When you compare how big a gummy worm is to a gummy bear, it creates a very disturbing image of the gummy world. Thanks for hanging out with us today. You're the best. Peace.